And welcome back to Gundam's Grace, presented by the Gundam Evolution Newtype League. We are down to our top 4 teams, but only 3 teams can advance to day 2. Once again, I am Evan Wonder Chef Hashimoto, joined by James Jamerson Lee, and it's time to see who out of our bottom 2, out of IQ and oh my gosh, I forgot literally who just won on Powerpuff Girls, who is going to make it to, like I said, that top 3 on day 2.
Yeah, and the Powerpuff Girls, when it comes to the lower bracket, they do not disappoint whatsoever. We've had some amazing matches with them so far. It's going to come down to, well, they need 2 more to make it to the grand finals. And standing in their way, it's going to be IQ, a team that we haven't really seen. We haven't seen on broadcast quite yet. And, you know, after what skill issue we're able to put on display for us, I mean, there's still a lot of surprises in store.
Yeah, and just before we do get a chance to start this set, I want to give a shout out, of course, to one of our sponsors, which is going to be Bloodline. As a card store, you can check out a bunch of stuff there, like the new, I know that everybody's hyped for the One Piece card game that's coming out right now, and then the Dragon Ball, almost called Fighters, the Dragon Ball Z card game. There are Funko Pops. They've got a Discord. You can go to discord.gg/Bloodline card shop, or you can just do !Bloodline in the chat. So it's a huge thank you to them, because we want to make sure that all of this is possible. We want to do the best that we can for this scene, because I freaking love this game, man. It's freaking sick. Also, shout out to the production, just as a side note, because especially Lux is doing so much work switching between all of these Discord POVs before we get the Observer client. That's like the hardest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I just want to give my own personal shout out.
Yeah, it's always a struggle. You know, at the beginning of a scene when there is no spectator client. I'm glad that we at least have the custom custom matches in play, and that was like one of the things that I was really praying for when the game initially launched, that we were able to get that. Of course, I was disappointed not having any spectator, but just being able to put on tournaments yourself was fantastic. And so thank you to Bloodline Card Shop for being able to do for allowing us to do this, being the who's been here basically since day 1. So shout outs to them. Of course, like you said, shout outs to Lux and Craze, guys behind the scenes making all of this possible as well. Right now, we're just waiting for our next match, our next one in the lower bracket, to see who will be facing off against our losers in tomorrow's matches in the winners finals. And we should have 3 amazing matches in store for us to close out the day tomorrow.
Yeah, so this is IQ, is one of these teams here, and like you said, this is the only team that we haven't seen before. We've seen Powerpuff Girls a lot now on stream, and IQ, they all gave me a ton of information about themselves. They're, like I said, a team that for sure has some competitive background. Some of them have competitive background with Battlefield, and they've played together, but then there's some other players that have said that they are new to this. You know, I'm looking over at my survey right now, but my favorite thing was that, I asked them all for their little fun facts, and we have Saris, their Method player, who said Chaotic is the best Barbados player in the world, and then their Barbados player, who is Chaotic, said Saris is the best Method player in the world. So there's a lot of love within this team, and I love seeing the love, but I don't know how they're going to actually play. I think these are probably still the bands from last time around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the bands from the last one. We're going to clear this real quickly. We are getting the map bands done, but I mean, that was still a huge surprise to us, seeing Mountain R&D getting banned out, the first ban as well. And I don't know if that's going to remain true, but it does look like we do have our bans coming in for this match right now. Powerpuff Girls versus IQ, and our first ban, well, never mind, it's going to be Mountain R&D getting banned out first.
I wonder if that was the same basic ban as the previous match. I actually need to pull that up, who banned what, but Powerpuff Girls, maybe not having so much success on that today, but they are moving forward regardless of it. So I'm thinking maybe they're like, you know what, let's rethink our strategy there. Let's not play that for the rest of this tournament. But Mountain R&D, we've certainly seen it enough, so I'm not super sad that it's banned. I do hope we get to see at least one of the other maps that we haven't seen yet today, or at least at the very minimum tomorrow. We know that Powerpuff Girls is a pretty flexible team, and on the other side, again, IQ, we have no idea about, so I'd expect that we might see at least one bigger stage this time around.
Yeah, so it's going to be a Ministry of Defense band coming out second for Team IQ, and their first pick, it's going to be Quarry. So you got what you asked for there, Evan. Our first map, or our first sighting of Quarry throughout the day here on the broadcast, and Quarry was an interesting one to say the least when we got to see it during Halloween Havoc. Some teams a little bit more successful on that first half hold of the map, but we know how difficult it can be once a team establishes itself on the offense, gets the waypoint, and is able to try and push for either sites. I think we had a little bit more success on point A more than anything else, especially due to the sight lines that the Pale Rider is really able to play around once it comes down to getting the bomb plant on that A side.
Yeah, and it does look like our second map of this set will be going back to Flak Fort. Again, not super unsurprising. We've definitely seen that the pattern overall of the maps that we see most often are going to be Flak Fort and Mountain R&D over the past 2 tournaments at least. We'll see if that changes within the next patch, but we are going to go back to Flak Fort. No big surprise. I still want to talk about Quarry though. Just like all the stuff you were saying, we saw it actually a lot more. It was like one of the most common maps that we saw on broadcast in Halloween Havoc. Not this time around, but we do at least get to use all that knowledge for our own. One of the big things that we saw a lot was we saw Bozos playing very well on that map, using kind of like a death ball on defense for the very first point, the very first waypoint, which worked really well for them. They even switched over to that Gundam Unicorn, which gave them a little bit more defense in that death ball area. But we saw some other teams that were holding slightly different. For example, I think we saw Gundam Unicorn that was holding in Team Gundam Unicorn, which is very confusing, holding inside the actual buildings a little bit more next to the waypoint and using them kind of as its own weird little cover, where you had to figure out which door you had to shoot in and who was in which door. And by the time you figure that out, you might already be dead. So the defense here is really interesting. It's also one of the first A points, the most, I guess you could say the most closed off first pushes of a destruction or point capture map, where there's not huge long sight lines. It's not short sight lines by any means, but there are a lot of corners at the very beginning. So we could also see a little bit more of like a melee comp if we wanted to see that. Something like Marasai, which we've definitely seen from Powerpuff Girls, can get some really nice corner angles on this map. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to see. And again, we have no idea about IQ. I have the list of like who they play. We have like a Barbados player. We have a turn A player, but it's nothing for sure set in stone.
Yeah, again, it is going to be super interesting to see the defensive holds that come out from our squads. Like you mentioned, there are multiple play styles. You can try and deathball it on the low ground. Some teams put a little bit more focus on controlling that right side high ground if you're playing on from the defensive side, but also just playing around that mega pack on the bottom right? Typically, that's where you will park your Pale Rider along with whoever's supposed to peel for him, whether it's the Dom or the Sazabi, to really try and establish that position. We know that teams can struggle getting that waypoint alone, and it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to be able to hold on to that waypoint once you secure it as the defensive side, because we've seen Ashmar players or even Exia players doing an amazing job even after losing that waypoint, just kind of lurking around, sneaking in while a push is going on to just get rid of that waypoint before a fight even breaks out. So a lot of different ways to approach this, a lot of things to consider when you're on the offensive side. But I really do imagine that if we do fall back to that Pale Rider meta, teams are really going to focus a little bit more on that A side plant other than the B side. If we do get something a bit more melee heavy coming out from our offense, then yeah, I imagine it going over towards that B side instead.
Yeah, it really does seem like it depends on like which comp you're using when you want to hold it, which is really cool. I actually really like watching this very first point. There's a lot that goes on within the very first like destruction here, and this map in general I think is really fun to watch as we're setting up these players and getting them in the lobby. I just want to talk also about the second point. Oh, it does sound like they're in the lobby actually, but so we can talk about the second point when we get there, but I really enjoy that too. Another spot where you can really recap the waypoint very easily. But let's see what these comps are. We are going to see a Barbados again. A Barbados, a turn A. I'd have to assume that this is going to be IQ. Yeah, I do see their names over here. So a little bit or a lot different of a comp. We're again going to see a no-tank comp on their side. A lot of the key units, we're seeing Exia, we're seeing Pale Rider, we're seeing the Ashamar, but we're not going to see any Sazabi. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that like Sazabi isn't as necessary when it comes to this, right? When you're trying to do post plant, once you get the bomb actually down, you have so many units that actually have CC that they can just deny the plant by just coming in, going in for the stun, and having them to restart basically that defusal. But it's going to be a far back defensive hold coming out now from our defense. You can see them playing all the way back at the waypoints, and even though they don't have the Sazabi, they still have a lot of self heals to really utilize. They can play around the health packs as well. But here comes out the push.
Yeah, and we are going to see a really far back, interesting hold spot from the Exia. We're not going to see that death ball by the right side box that we tend to see a lot from the other teams. We're going to see, of course, a few people hiding back there, but it's not going to be like literally their entire team like we've seen before. And so we are seeing a good amount of shots just getting picked off here. The Barbados is going to be really scary to actually try to hold that spot. You can get a lot of people down all at once if you're not ready. And you know, we're not seeing Powerpuff Girls, the players, go down, but we're not seeing them like hold their spot either. A lot of them are backing up into the spots I was talking about, into the doors, and we're going to see a pick on either side.
Yeah, so they're just going to have to give up the waypoint here and back away. That Exia needs desperate healing here, and so he falls all the way back basically towards spawn at this point. And now for the other side, they've got their pick of where they want to try and push up, and it looks like they're going to go for that point A push. They weren't able to respond in time. They end up losing out on their Pale Rider, and this is a point where you desperately need your Pale Rider to try and stop this push.
Yeah, this is a really interesting team to hold A. If they can grab this bomb and actually place it down here on A, it feels like it could be really good for them. Just with the fact they've got two flyers, they've got the turn A, which is essentially used the same way as you see some Gym Sniper use to defend A once you've actually planted, defend an offense. I know that's weird to say, but right now, I mean, look at how much work it's putting in. Having that zero drop off, being that essential like sort of sniper that can self-sustain with exactly like this with the nano skin, it is going to make A such a nice target. And while you're really stopping them here at A, there's a good chance that your team could go over to B, which is looks like what we're seeing.
Yeah, once you get the plant down on A as well, the nice thing is you've got that penetrating shot when you fully charge. So if a team tries the body block, you can still have access to the diffuser at this point. But it looks like there are going to be a few trades. The turn A will get onto that A site, get that plant down. But while they're doing it, they are bleeding out on bodies. They got the plant down, but they don't have the bodies to defend.
Yeah. I mean, you might be able to get some really miraculous shots here to stop this. Like you said, you can hit so many people at once. Whoa! So much damage.
That is what I was talking about, the defense coming out. You don't need the Gym Sniper, especially because body blocking is so strong when you try to come to defense. This is one of the few units that has that penetration when it comes to having that full charge shot, and that's what he was able to do there, shutting down 2 units with the 1 shot. Beautiful play coming out, and what looked like a bad plan for them, they have been able to turn around. The turn A butterfly ultimate coming down as well. As this is such a fractured fight. It seems like there's 6 individual fights going on with turn A coming in to clean up all of them.
I know, maybe that's just what Barbados does, but wow, I'm actually so glad that we stuck on this turn A's perspective for this entire push, because this was entirely, it was one person that set up the bomb, it was one person that defended the bomb as everybody else got back, and then it was that big G maneuver that defended the bomb fully from the entire team fight. That was like MVP moment right here from this turn A. I'm going to figure out the name of this turn A player, because that was a beautiful Fusion Black. Really incredible play.
Now here on the defense, they do have 4 G maneuvers up. That Unicorn G maneuver along with the Ashmar punch can be strong, and this is such an awkward second half of a map or destruction map because the points are so close together. A and B are basically stacked on top of each other. You have access to B from A, so if you do end up trying to push up there's a way you can try and hold it down. They do have that Exia getting chased down. They will be able to finish him off. That's going to be 2 pickoffs for our defense from the Powerpuff Girls. They did utilize, I believe, one of their G maneuvers, and the Hades is going to go down for them just to clean things up to be safe.
Yeah, looking pretty good, but there's a lot of time that they've got to defend for here. This is what I was trying to mention a little bit earlier, right as we got the game started. An interesting choice here is how you play around the waypoints here, because you can really use flyers to recap it, or you know what, you could just say this is the biggest tunnel of all time. This is literally like the longest choke point of all time. So if you can get your entire team in here, this Gundam Unicorn G maneuver is probably the scariest thing you could possibly ask for. And
point blank into the dome somehow does not finish them off. There we go. We'll go ahead and take out that Methus, and they will be able to cap that waypoint away from the offensive side. And now they just go ahead and clean up in the back, making sure that no one gets the back plant. Well, what a nice little push for them. And now it's going to be starting off from step 1. Once again, they have to recap the waypoint and then figure out how they want to push. And I think they might have been left with a sour taste in their mouth trying to push through that canyon. And I got to imagine they're going to try and push through main instead.
Yeah, that can be a trap. That really can. You just get stuck in that little spot and you just can't escape. You have to turn physically around. It is unfortunate. So it really depends on how many people are defending each spot. It looks like that auto-res might get off. The Exia might not be able to actually finish, and yeah, wait, no, the res got off? No, the res didn't get off. Maybe the Exia did actually finish it off. It's kind of hard to see from behind, but we've got a lot of people still healthy on both sides, though we're starting to see the picks slowly more and more coming out of Powerpuff Girls. Oh, look at that, so many people in the corner. This is a huge shark shot potential, but wasn't off cooldown. Unfortunate. That would have been huge. Maybe could have taken out 3 people straight. Still, the plant goes off.
Yeah, they got out on A, though, and this is going to be a difficult defense. It's not going to be the same kind of case for turn A on point A on the first half of this, but again, if he's able to get some room, never mind, no room for you. As that screaming Nimbus comes in, he'll utilize the overhead throw just for a few iframes there and avoid a lot of the extra damage. But now in this 1v1 up against the Pale Rider, he just needs to land one more shot. He will lose out on that fight, and that should just be the push done. The defuse should be going down for our defense now, but you can see trying to get bodies onto it. The respawns are coming in. They've got the waypoint here as well. The bomb still ticking down. The Hades is going to be utilized here for the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, you gotta stop this somehow. That's super unfortunate. And there we go again, the turn AG maneuver, and this is one of the best spots in the entire game for it. There's somebody on the point. There's somebody who fell on the wrong side. You just gotta get one shot, and that's gonna be the shot. That was almost scary, but again, the turn AG maneuver. This is, I mean, obviously the play from everybody was really strong, but that was for sure one of those games where you get one player that you can really see their effect on the game, and for sure there it was that turn A. That was great to see.
That's twice that he was really able to utilize that alternative fire, that charged up shot from the turn A to be able to get through the body blockers, to be able to get to the diffusers. What a beautiful play coming out from Fusion Blackie here for his squad. And honestly, MVP of that first half. They still have a minute and 52 seconds after that for Team IQ. Now Team Powerpuff Girls, they have a time limit set on them. They need to try and beat out this time to have a chance.
Yeah, we are now going to see this interesting team comp have to play defense. Now, it is a little bit, in a way, similar to the comp that we saw previously from Skill Issue, where we saw the triple melee, but this time around it's only going to be the double melee plus the turn A, which really changes the entire, I guess you could say, like, dynamic of the team. This team does have a lot of strength from further away, and I'm actually really liking that from a lot of teams. We're seeing a lot more turn A this month than we did last month. You can just see how this information has grown and how people are really exploring new things and seeing how you effectively use suits that are a little bit weirder, like turn A, for sure, a weird suit. Obviously, everybody knew that its G maneuver was extremely strong if used correctly, but we're starting to see just its actual mechanical uses, which is super great to see. But how well will it work on defense? Of course, you can get some of those big chunky shots doing a ton of damage to a bunch of people with those collateral hits, but that's only if they line up. So we'll see if they're ready.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and push out straight through mid. No one going for the left-hand side. The Methus turret has been spotted out. Exia trying to get some poke on in. Got a health pack to play off of, but it's going to be the high ground that's actually getting challenged right now. And looks like everyone is just waiting for their health pack to get topped up. And now they're going to go for their secondary push, forcing them back. The first pickup onto that Pale Rider is absolutely huge as they get the res as well. So they should have the numbers advantage with Batty picking up that Ashamar, but focus has fallen down as they try to take that height.
Yeah, that means they're going to lose a lot of angles and the big flame. So honestly, pushing together as a big team here without that, the flame bomb is going to be huge. It's going to be really, really easier, well, really safer, I guess you could say. Obviously, there's still a decent amount of AoE damage on the other side, but when you have a strange team like this, it's going to be nice to be able to kind of group up somewhat, especially because they have the unicorn.
Yeah, turn A just able to jiggle peek basically these corners and get free shots off with that charge shot. So I love to see that we do have turn A's on either side right now. Both teams realizing the power of it, but Zeros realizes the hard way as Fusion Black is able to get that knock. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange though, Exia for Exia, and he's out kind of in the middle of the open. They do have the Methus for the res, but unfortunately he does get finished off. But throughout all of this, they find another pick on to that Pale Rider. And that's going to slow down the push from the offense once again. They still have plenty of time, though. But again, they haven't been able to make anything happen here on the waypoint.
Yeah, look at all these shots landing, though. This is making me want to go play some turn A after this. I'm certainly going to do that. Oh, in fact, actually, I think hitting 3 people in one single shot right there, but that does mean that there's a big push coming, and it looks like there's going to be a pick on actually quite a few people on the right side. The Axian's going down, the Pale Rider, and we're going to see the full push all the way. Yeah, I like that. We're going to see the rest of Team IQ just back up. They're like, okay, you know what? We lost that. We got too many people picked off. We're not going to stagger ourselves, but already they had somebody in position to plan on B.
Yeah, Casino just playing a flanker here as well, going through the A site, and now he's about to find one more. Will not overextend for this one to maintain access to this B plant. Now he spots one, and the Barbados is not able to get the sword. He might actually die for his efforts there. That's chaotic going down. So it looks like Powerpuff Girls should be able to get this bomb off. No one really in position to safely get this defused. The punch has been utilized as well, and that gets instantly shut down. Nice little play coming out. They've retaken the height as well. And now with just a few seconds remaining here, we should be seeing the second half. Barbados going in, but that's going to be a miracle play if he can pull this one off. He's been focused down. Chaotic will fall. They only get subject throughout all of this. And the Trans Am gets popped, but instantly the Screaming Nimbus comes out to shut it down. Fusion Black can't even do anything with that overhead throw in the face of the Screaming Nimbus. That's going to be Powerpuff Girls getting the first half, and now we're moving on to the second points.
That's really what Screaming Nimbus is. Like, the moment that anybody hears any sort of G maneuver pop, it's just like Screaming Nimbus. You know, it's just like, you activated my trap card. Here we go. It's Screaming Nimbus, and then it just shuts down every other G maneuver so well. But you can just see those reactions from a lot of those Dom players, and it was perfect. It was perfect. They wasted honestly a lot of G maneuvers defending on that, or trying to get back, I guess, to defuse. And now they don't have them for this next push forward.
Oh,
but, oh my gosh, what a focus.
Yeah, he was trying to get to the low ground there, and that's really unfortunate, but he will be able to come back with the butterfly. It's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange, though, but there's one more picked up. Again, our Methodist players dishing out the damage so far as that supports, and now it looks like the offense will have to try and reapproach this from a different angle. We'll see if it's going to be a fuse. Again, I don't know if you really want to try and plant on point A when you can have these melee characters just drop down on you and use their full combo, but right now it looks like a lot of the focus is going to be put there.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know realistically which one I like more against this team. This team on the side of IQ is like really weird. So, oh my gosh, Nice dashes through. Is going to pick up that Gundam Unicorn. Not even going to try to finish it off. Just saying, yeah, there's nobody else there. We don't even need to deal with that. I'm just moving back. But they can honestly take advantage of a whole lot of different situations. I mean, it's just the fact that they have that turn A alongside the melee. No, not quite able to get that pick right there. That would have been huge. But regardless, 2 of the players on the side of Powerpuff Girls going down.
That was a lot of G maneuvers utilized as well there. Now they're just completely dry. So this is a difficult spot for them. Remember, there's a minute 40 something remaining on the time board for Team IQ. And so now in the next minute, you're basically just trying to build up G maneuver to try and go for a successful push. And then you have to wait another 30-40 seconds for that bomb the mega charge to actually go off. And so they've basically put themselves in a spot where they are not going to be able to get a better time than Team IQ, even if everything goes right here. Now the Ashmar punch is going to be up, but you can see the turn A on the chase. Turn A versus turn A. But it looks like he will not try and take that duel overall and just play for the delay. Here is the plant possibly to try and bait them out, but no one is falling for it.
I like that, actually. Just starting to defuse and then just waiting to see if somebody comes down. That's very Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six of them. But here we go. This is just like so many picks. This defense against the defense is looking very, very strong. This bomb not even close to getting defused yet.
Yeah, they're over halfway there as the G maneuvers are starting to come out now. You can see the waypoint is gone for the offense, but do they have enough presence? It looks like they might possibly. Exia has gone down, and it looks like Powerpuff Girls actually were able to beat out the time. Just 6 more seconds remaining here. Now it looks like it's going to be the final members remaining. The Gundam Butterfly Ultimate comes in just to clear things out, and Powerpuff Girls will have about a 30, maybe 40-second advantage for the next push.
Yeah, this is all the, it's about a 30-second, 34-second advantage, but this is a really close game so far. I'm really enjoying this. This set seems to be pretty evenly matched. We didn't get we might be seeing history repeat. We didn't get a game 3 until the very final match of day 1 last month in Halloween Havoc. And now we're on the final match of day 1 for Gundam's Grace. And these teams look very, very close to each other in skill. And I would love to see a game 3 between them because this is already setting up to be a very good match. But this is a very strange map to have to play overtime on. Just because there is such technically a long run from the very first spot, the very first spawn to a point A or to point B, and you have to get that little like checkpoint in between, but it's not going to give you more time. So you've got to realistically make a very fast push on this map. Otherwise, you're just going to run out of time. You might spend all your time fighting for the waypoint, and by the time you get it, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and it's going to be Team IQ starting off on the offense for this one. And they did end up struggling when it came to that waypoint fight. It took a little while for them to break it open. Once they did, though, they were able to kind of snowball into the second half. But with, a minute 40-something remaining, it's going to be a tough ask for them. We'll see if they have something a little bit different in store for us. It looks like they're going to stick with that same composition. Sazabi-less, Dom-less as well, which is, I think, one of the more surprising parts. Not having a Sazabi, I understand. Not having the Dom, though, there's a massive difference in how you have to play things out. You can see how strong the Dom is when it comes to defensive holds, just being able to spam out corners with those rockets. But here it is, the first defensive hold coming out from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, and they are going to be pretty spread out, just like they were in the first time that they were on defense here. And whoa, getting some nice little, oh no, that wasn't a pick, that was a miner's turret or something like that. But they are going to, yeah, that's why you hold this spot, is that little, I don't know if you could see like little tunnel up there that they're currently shooting at. You really need a good angle on that. Oh, the Barbados flies over and the Exia flying over. That was definitely a coordinated strike. They're going to get a solid amount of damage, and there was no return pick. So this is going to be now Powerpuff Girls, I think, a little bit on the back foot. A lot of them are pretty damaged in this fight, and the turn A, we're going to see the Exia go down, though. That's huge. Trading Exia for Exia.
Yeah, and honestly, he could count his lucky stars. That casino was there. The armor gun was what kept him alive throughout all of that. But ultimately, they're going to be able to brute force open this waypoint and secure that. But they have delayed. Now they're going to be scrambling on the IQ side to just try and push up and get the Mega Charge down. Which side they choose, it looks like it's going to be the right as a full 6-man push up with as a death ball. Now they don't catch anyone quite yet. They're splitting up. Team members going up to the height, some going and wrapping around far right. That leaves one vulnerable. That's going to be the Exia going down along with Saris on that Methus. And now things are looking so dire for Team IQ. They're not going to be able to get the Mega Charge down here. Now they've only got 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate push. They got like kind of picked off from a lot of different directions. They just took a lot of damage just running past. Powerpuff Girls was very much ready for the angles, especially the angles through the floor to shoot through the door even. But here we go. We are going to see the Pale Rider go down. The punch comes out, and that is going to be, I think, Casino going down, although they might be able to get the res. No, they're not going to. Casino going down and the charge going up on B. This is IQ's best shot that they've had so far. It looked like 2 people on Powerpuff Girls were down. And so now they've just got to hold, and B, we've seen, can be a pretty good spot to hold, especially with a team with Barbados.
Mega Charge has been used, but has been planted, and Trans Am has been used on the offensive side. For the defense here, though, they had almost all of their G maneuvers available. Now we do have the turn A ultimate being used now just to delay anything at all, and no one can get onto the point. And so they crack that one open. They only lose out on Chaotic. Nice overhead throw with a headshot. And that should secure point B for them, but there's still a long way to go. 20 seconds remaining, and they've basically used everything in the tank. If Barbados can get back in time, maybe. But it looks like he might have actually lost out on that one. Here comes the next push from the defense to try and get onto the Mega Charge, but there's only a few seconds remaining. They'll have the tools to try and slow them down. The Molotov as well. Extra time ticking down, and that will be the second half secured. 1:30 is added onto the clock, and now they try to charge forward to catch these stragglers.
Wow, yeah, again, another unbelievably strong play from that turn A on the side of Fusion Blackie. That was, it was like 3 people down from the turn A G maneuver, and then just one-shot comboing with the overhead throw. Just like, oh yeah, I'll just take out most of your team, and we'll just guarantee this spot. So they are going to immediately run forward, capture the waypoint. We see, I like that flying over. That means you're not going to be quite as, we're going to see the air battle. I want to see more air battles. I always love air battles.
You just got to be careful though when you do go for that transform and try to go for that peak. Unfortunately, he can go for the peak, but he's not going to have any boost to stay and try to get some poke off. But Fusion Blacking on that run back gets the knock on to focus. There's a second one as well, but the Exia finally trades back. It's a 2-for-1. They're going to go for the res and get him back into this. They might have to go straight for point B and get that Mega Charge down, and they will be successful. No, the Dom gets right onto the point to stop it, but Fusion Blackie did not get finished off. He gets rezzed. The meth is coming in clutch for the squad now, but you can see that Molotov slowing things down. Mega Charge has gone down onto point B, and they end up losing out on focus. Gonna be a 5-man hold here, but they do have that high ground maintained for the time being to go for that drop down 63% towards that butterfly, and it could be another huge clutch play coming in for Fusion Black.
Well, right now we see that this is the absolute final chance. We are on overtime technically, but this bomb has already been planted. They planted it exactly the time they needed to, and we are going to see Fusion Blackie go down, which is really unfortunate. Invictus going down as well. That's going to be 6v4 on the point. They just need to pick a few more players and then hold people at this choke point if they can, but we're at 75% of the bomb already. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, someone needs to get onto the Mega Charge now. 10 seconds remaining, and Fusion Blackie is 72% away from his G maneuver. It might not even be needed here. As you can see, they're able to just poke whenever they go in, and that's all they need to do. They just need to play time. That's the Mega Charge going down, and so that's going to be a successful push on to the second half for IQ.
Wow, just barely with basically no time left. And now we're going to have to see Powerpuff Girls try to take their own offense. They did have slightly more time, right? Just slightly, about 34 seconds more, but they still do not have that much time, realistically. I was mentioning it before, this map, you don't really have a lot of time. It takes longer technically to get from your first spawn to point A or point B than most other maps. So you really need to have a coordinated push, just like we saw from IQ on that previous round. And they have a pretty offensive team, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the same thing for Powerpuff Girls or if they're going to switch off and maybe play a slightly different comp. We'll have to see.
I just love the effect that IQ has had basically on this match. That turn A Gundam from Fusion Black in particular, really forcing another turn A in kind from the Powerpuff Girls, which isn't something that we really saw from them. And so I love the fact that our teams have on each other that, like, hey, maybe this is something that you try and play. Maybe you try to play the Barbados, all this other stuff. It's been an kind of evolution of the meta so far throughout the day. We got to see a full death ball as well. So I'm just so glad that we were able to take Zakutu Melee out of the competitive quarantine and see what kind of effect it has. I mean, seeing the introduction once again of Barbados, I feel like earlier on has had like a domino effect on how the teams have been playing it out today.
Yeah, I agree. It's really funny. I mean, I love to see this, right? Like I said, this is like one big community, and a lot of these teams are going to be going into the Gundam Showdown, but this is like, they're like big scrims, and you love to see all these teams learning from each other, so I'm going to be rooting for everybody on that. But here we go, the first big push. They were, of course, wasting zero time going into this, literally zero time. Is this a melee Dom that we're seeing? This is extremely aggressive. They are going to get multiple picks here, and they're going to get one little res, but that is already the waypoint on the side of Powerpuff Girls, and they are immediately going for what looks like, actually, they have the opportunity to, it looks like they are going to be pushing for B.
Yeah, I mean, usually you see a little bit more footsies going on, but Chaotic ends up picking up 2 on that Barbados. Huge picks for him to try and slow down the momentum. Now, they haven't been able to go back for that waypoint, so they still have to deal with it. Boost in with that grab, doesn't quite connect with the overhead throw, but you know, it's enough pressure to at least force them back. So we need to see a regroup coming out from Powerpuff Girls, because you don't want this time to get away from you right now. The high ground has been maintained. You can see his toes getting chopped off right there through the grates, and you have to be careful when you try and play that angle. The Mega Charge has actually gone down in that small moment, that small opening that they were able to create, but Raptor finds a knock onto subject. There's Zeros going down. They need a little bit more though to try and get this defuse.
Yeah, this is looking decently safe, but no, the Dom coming out, and that is going to just be able to do so much damage, and that is a full team kill this time around, so we know for sure that it's going to be safe, and we do see the huge defuse. This is actually the first defuse that we've seen this entire map, I think. Pretty much every single time that we've seen a plant, it has been effective. It has been an actual, destruction, but this time around, hey, all you got to do, just team wipe them. No big deal.
Yeah, they did have to utilize, I believe, 3 G maneuvers for it. They used the energy cable along with the Barbados ultimate. I can't remember ever the name of that Anya something system, and that Hades system, but it's gonna be the turn A butterfly coming out now to try and clear things out. Only picking up 1, but that is Saris falling. They've lost out 2 in this exchange, so it was a good retreat coming out. Now Chaotic does find 1 more onto focus. He doesn't have his nano skin quite yet, but he does have this health pack along with the overhead throw, buying just enough time, and the knock. Fusion Black coming in clutch with this turn A once again.
Once again, yes, that was so perfect. Again, it's just like fighting an entire team. I'm so impressed. I mean, I'm very impressed, of course, again, with every single player on IQ, but we've just seen so many, like, you know, game-making plays on the side of Fusion Black. That's just... I really am gonna go play ranked with turn A after this. I hope you all know that. Go find me on ranked and hardlock turn A so I don't make people lose.
Yeah, I've been spamming turn A, I'm not gonna lie, but we do have the butterfly coming out, and that's gonna pick up 3. Kaiser, actually 2 of his own. They do get challenged on that plant, but the mega charge will go down once again. Now they need to hold for another full minute here, overtime ticking the entire time as well. And so there is no margin for error whatsoever. Dom in the back will go ahead and help his teammate out. Zeros gets brought back into this huge play coming out from Powerpuff Girls, but they still need to hold on for 1 more fight.
This is really good positioning. We found it so hard for people to disarm on B once you get kind of like set in like this. It does seem like Casino's going down, but they just traded a 1-for-1. Although 2 more players going down, IQ is going to have a huge numbers advantage in this fight, and it does look like they're chasing down the rest of the team. We've seen the start of the disarm. Will they have enough time to get it off? I don't see anybody left to defend it, and they will, and that will be the win for IQ in this map.
Wow, that is massive IQ. We're able to get that full run on the second half, basically in the extra rounds here on Quarry, taking that 4-2. And honestly, off the back of some amazing turn A play coming out from Fusion Black. We don't see him here on the board, unfortunately, but yeah.
This is such a ranked experience. Victory, and then every MVP slot is the other team. That's so funny. You see it all the time, though, but it just goes to show how strong both of these teams are. I really, really think that this is our best chance by a long shot to hit a game 3 today, and I do hope that we do see that.
Yeah, and again, I'm so glad that we are seeing a deeper exploration of the mobile suits that can be used. I mean, we did get to see some turn A when it came to Halloween Havoc, but we are seeing a lot more usage, I would say, here so far during Grace. So I'm really glad that we are getting a deeper exploration into the depths of the roster compositions when it comes to Gundam Evolution so far.
It's because the icon, you know, the poster for Gundam's Grace, it had turn A on it, so everybody was like, "Oh, I guess we got to play turn A." It just makes sense, right? They're just going with the mood here. I appreciate it, but no, I totally agree with you. We're seeing a lot more of turn A, and we're seeing a lot more Barbados actually, which is really cool to see. I've been trying a lot of Barbados recently and failing miserably. That is actually honestly, like, against good players, such a hard suit to use, and we're seeing it used very effectively in a very competitive sense. So it's really cool to see a lot of these changes. We saw more of the Sazabis earlier in the day, and now we're seeing a whole lot less. It's very cool to see the meta continue to shift, and then it's going to shift even more, of course, with the patch coming in about 3 days. So we'll just see how things continue to go on from there. But we saw so many good turn A plays in that last game. It was really just like, it was like a highlight reel within itself. 2 like full basically clears from that turn A, and it did lead into, of course, 2 round wins. But now we're going to be moving on to a different map that's not the most different map in the world, right? We are going to move over to Flak Fort, and we are probably going to see some pretty similar things. We can see, of course, the turn A. We see the turn A G maneuver like be a lot less safe usually on this map, but it can be very strong, especially on point A.
Yeah, we did get to see it, I believe, in our match just beforehand as well. So if both teams are willing, and it looks like they are, hopefully we get to see a little bit more turn A. It's been fantastic to see, because I myself have been spamming a lot of turn A. I went on a gym sniper kind of bend for a little while. I think there's like 2 full weeks where all I was playing was sniper regardless of the map. And rightfully getting flamed for it, and then I transitioned on over to turn A because yeah, just that primary, or excuse me, the secondary fire is just so much fun. We got to see it there, Fusion Blackie really putting it to use and showing why it is so strong when it comes to these defusal maps. Body block doesn't matter, don't care, just gets right on through and will stop that defuse.
I mean, I gotta say the double kill with the defuse was like, it has to be the clip of the day, right? Like the ultimate highlight. That was so good. And then of course just that entire segment was amazing. But yeah, this is it's really cool because turn A, like you said, it is a sort of pseudo sniper in its own weird way. And we all know that GM sniper is like really strong as a suit, but it's not flexible enough to use all the time. I get it though. I do that too. I play it on maps where you're not supposed to because it's just really fun to click heads with it, and you'd be like, "Yep, I just one shot you. Gotcha." You know, you feel sick even though you're making your team lose the game. But the flexibility of turn A, you know, being able to be more self-sustaining with the nano skin, being able to deal with people that are trying to dive it using the overhead throw. There are just so many different things that it can do, and it has I would say a considerably more impactful G maneuver. Of course, the GM Sniper one can be very impactful just knowing where everybody is, but you can obviously win entire team fights with one turn A G maneuver. So it's really cool to see the flexibility. It's weird though. I totally understand why it took people so long to start really using it as much as they are now, because it's not a suit that's like, hey, you're gonna sit here in mid-range and you're gonna click heads, or it's not like you're gonna sit here far away and snipe people and try to click heads, or you're a melee unit. It's like you gotta be different things at different times, and it's really cool to see it done by really strong players.
Yeah, it's not flashy until you're looking at their POV, right? I mean, if you're looking from anyone else's POV, you get to see like the Exias flying around and dashing about and doing all these cool aerial maneuvers. But turn A is just kind of there waiting, and then maybe occasionally gets the overhead throw. But a good turn A player, like you saw coming up from Fusion Blackie, was able to put immense pressure on teams. It just basically solo holding a bomb defusal by himself. He even got the plant. We have to remember he was able to get the plant and narrowly survive the retreat to get into position to put himself in that spot to defend the bomb defusal. So it was like you said, that self-reliance really did come back to reward him in the end. And so now as we move on to the next map, we'll see again, hopefully some more turn A gameplay coming up from both sides.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're at least going to see it from one side. I kind of expect that we're at the very minimum going to see IQ stick with the team that they've been running with. They didn't really change it up all that much depending on the situation in the previous game, and it's already kind of its own unique team, so I expect we're probably going to see the same, and we are starting off at least looking at the same. It looks like they are going to be the ones that are on offense and on defense. Of course, they're going to be sitting here. We are going to see the turn A as well. Nothing else too strange. We're going to see the Unicorn. We do see a lot of Methis defending this first point, but Unicorn can do just as well if you have this many people, sitting on this top little corner, little bridge. But we'll see if it works. It is going to be turn A versus turn A, and we're in game number 2. IQ just needs to win one more.
Yeah, the difference is going to be the Barbados basically in these compositions for right now. But for the defense, again, it's a lot of self-reliance. You have that nano skin, you've got the self-heal, or excuse me, the heal pack coming out as well. And then the Dom shield and the shield coming out from Unicorn. But it's going to be the Methis heal now for the offensive side for Team IQ. They're sticking with this Barbados. No Suzabi for them whatsoever. It looks like someone might be trying to go in for a flank. The charge up shot with the dash coming in doesn't quite connect, and he's getting poked himself, but he has a mini health pack to play off of, and you can see now the defense slowly getting forced off the high ground here. They end up picking up one, and that's going to be the Exia going down, but they still have to be worried about the initial threat coming up from the rest of the squad now. But it looks like they're doing a great job of just kiting around these fights and really playing around that health pack in the back. Here's Ashmar with the flank, but instantly regrets his decision and will go away. Zeros ends up taking him out, chasing him down. IQ will have to reapproach this in a different manner.
Yeah, this was actually a little bit scary. Once you guys start getting split up, you really start to lose the effectiveness of the Gundam Unicorn, but they did a really good job of not splitting up, even though they got pushed back, which is something that can happen very, very easily. But here we go. Gonna be pushing all the way in. We see the Exia full charging, gonna get, oh my gosh, took so much damage just trying to peek that corner, but we are gonna see slightly more and more of an ability to push in. Oh, the Ashmar getting melted, getting a good amount of damage on its own, but it will go down. The auto res very quick quickly, almost going off, not quite. And we are going to see a good amount of players on both sides go down. It's going to be just about 3-3 here, fighting for that point with a pretty long run back for especially the defense.
And unfortunately, Saris ends up running into one of the mines, which is a very rare instance where you get to see a mine getting that knock, especially posthumously, and Fusion Black ends up going down. So he's not going to be able to secure that tick quite yet. There's a little bit of presence as Chaotic does find one. Now that might be the opening for them. Batty falling as well. So that's going to be 2 pickups for that melee. But as they end up losing out on Chaotic and there's a rest on Zacius, they need to try and reapproach this. It's going to be Kaiser picking up 2 himself, or excuse me, picking up 1 more himself. And it looks like the defense might have done enough, but the turn's there for Saris. Getting a little bit of a thorn in the side. Now reapproaching to try and get a 3rd tick onto the point.
Yeah, this is such a big brawl. I'm actually surprised that the A hasn't been fully taken already. This is such a longer run back for defense, and you can tell that it's eventually just chipping away at their ability to defend A here. They are getting back really well. They have a very mobile team. In fact, wow, they might get enough here. 2 players going down on the side of IQ, and so that might be a full reset. It looks like there are a few players also sitting outside, so yeah, they're probably going to regroup and go for one more big push here. Very impressive, honestly, that Powerpuff Girls managed to hold like they did. Like I said, they had really long run backs, and that fight was like the entire past 2 minutes.
Yeah, the big question is, will they be able to deal with the turn A butterfly that's actually going to come in? Barbados is the first one to pop the G maneuver going in, try to find a little bit of value. They'll pop a 2nd and a 3rd. Everything is being used now as Barbados was cleaned up. Now, but the turn A is able to freely get that ultimate down, but really didn't get much value off of it. Really good response coming out from the Powerpuff Girls, who are now cleaning up kills, and they're able to deal with a 3-4-5 G maneuver push coming out from Team IQ.
Ooh, that was a nice shot catching the dash, but yeah, you're only going to survive so long. Almost up the health pack again, probably wouldn't have mattered regardless, but this is just not the hold that IQ needs. They've managed to get just little bits here and there, but they haven't managed to take a significant, I guess, like, enough of a significant lead to get the positioning, and that's the biggest deal, right? It's just been these tiny 1v1 brawls all over, and eventually they fall. Eventually, Powerpuff Girls makes it all the way back, and now they've essentially reset the situation completely. However, we're seeing little peeks from outside, and we'll see if any of those add up to anything. Whoa, that works.
The Ashmar punch, but they don't get the follow-up. There it is, securing that thirst onto Batty. Invictus, though, does fall, and that's the Gundam Unicorn the turn A Gundam trying to use that butterfly. He instantly gets melted down, and it looks like it might just be enough for IQ to break things open and send us on over to point B, but they are still bleeding out. They have to be careful in how they approach this. They cannot believe that this is a 1 fight, because they lose out on 2 throughout all of this. Luckily for them, the Ashmar does at least trade back, picking off 1 more. But the defense is here. They are back. They are back in force, essentially. And now it's coming down to one last mad scramble just to get onto the point. There's only 15 seconds left.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe they didn't take it off that. And look at this. But now that we see the back on the point, it looks like almost a complete reset for the defense here. And oh, they just need a little bit more. They've got to get on the point. It all is going to come down to this final fight. And we're seeing so many picks from the side of Powerpuff Girls. They just need to stop all of these flankers essentially scrambling around them. And that looks like that might be almost an entire team wipe. There's still the Barbados. Barbados goes down. Is that enough? Is that everybody? It is. And that is going to be a full defense on point A.
Wow. Now, they did secure what, like 90%, 95%? Yeah, 93.7 for the IQ side. Again, we very rarely see the full holds here on point A. And what an amazing way to do it. Again, there was one fight where IQ threw 5 G maneuvers at that, and we're not able to secure it. It started off with, I believe, the Barbados going in with his G maneuver, and then all of a sudden, every single one was popped as soon as he went down. So things are looking really good for Powerpuff Girls. It looks like we might be going to a map 3.
Hey, maybe we're gonna get our wish. Maybe, is this just a repeat? Like, we don't even know. We're just watching the VOD from last month again. We're just gonna get down to this final game, and then it's gonna be, the final, set of the day into the final game of the day. I would certainly like to see it, though, and it looks like we are going to stick with pretty much the same thing that we saw last time. I have to say, it's going to be incredibly hard for IQ to defend all of point A for this long. They're playing extremely well, but Powerpuff Girls, honestly, when Powerpuff Girls has played against some of the strongest teams that we've had, they've captured point A most of the time. They did actually get shut down in point A here today, so that maybe was not the best example, but they are just so strong, especially at fighting on this map. There's a reason I think where they end up on this map most of the time. I think it's one of the most comfortable, and so we'll see. I mean, especially if they play just the way they play defense, if they can play offense that same way in this point, this could be a pretty quick round.
Yeah, 2 good fights. That's really all they need, ostensibly, to try and secure this, right? The first fight, even if it ends up going sour, they should be able to secure 2 ticks and then finish things off from there. But here it is, IQ on their offensive push. It's going to be turn A on the low ground here for Team IQ, excuse me. As Powerpuff Girls now making their approach. Looks like they might try to go for a full wrap around, secure that high ground. Once again, Zero's taking a little bit of damage. It's about getting this high ground for your Pale Rider. A lot of damage was dished out there, so they're gonna have to take their time, really, utilizing this health pack early on. So that means they're not gonna have it mid-fight.
Yeah, they actually have a lot of healing here. They've got the Pale Rider heal, they've got the Unicorn passive heal, they've got the health pack, but they didn't really maybe save that health pack for anything. Wow, okay, gonna get a pick immediately. Fusion Blackie is gonna go down. We are gonna see, oh, a nice pick here. Focus and Baddie both going down. That's gonna be tough, losing all of that support from the Unicorn. Was that a switch? Oh, no, it wasn't. We just switched to different players. Okay, so now we're back on Fusion Blackie.
It was close. They almost secured a tick there, unfortunately. They are not gonna be able to get that, so they're gonna be starting off once again from point in the first position. They're going to try and reapproach again. They have to be careful on this cross. We can see how often teams actually get punished if one player ends up lagging behind, gets picked off. Defense decides to push forward and get the stragglers. Now the Gundam Unicorn actually waiting things out to be the final person to cross, as Subject is here, but he takes massive damage once more. Again, you don't want to be left on pause using that health pack on the lower ground. Now here we go. The push comes out. Once again into the back line. It's going to be Gundam Unicorn trying to focus one down. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. It's Ashimar for Ashimar as Ceres has fallen as well. So now Team IQ running out of heals, but they don't run out of DPS. Picking up 2, Baddie and Zero's gone. The first tick has been secured for Powerpuff Girls, and now they need 2 more.
Yeah, there's only a few players left on the side of IQ here, and they really need to hold this. Remember, they don't even not have the ability to let them get even to almost the 4th tick. They need to find a way to defend this, but the entirety of Team Powerpuff Girls seems to be on the point. They're holding this extremely well. The Exia is here at super low HP, probably going to go down. Doesn't even get an opportunity to go down, as that is going to send us to our first game 3 of the day with a dominant performance on Flak Fort from Powerpuff Girls.
Was not expecting this kind of turnaround in play, especially after what we saw there on Quarry. I mean, it was so back and forth. It was so even between both squads that it did come down to that overtime push. But Powerpuff Girls, yeah, sending us to a map number 3 in a really dominant fashion. I mean, just the point A hold on Flak Fort. Like we said, it's not something that we get to see often. So that means we do go through another round of picks and bans.
That's cool. I'm glad that we get to get at least one game 3 today. You know, one thing before we get to this picks and bans, I want to note, we saw one player last month in Halloween Havoc when they were taking that cross to go over to the ramp on the first point of Flak Fort, you know, where everybody gets shot through that main door. They stood on the bridge, they jumped and they hovered onto the box to the left and then went over that way and they weren't shot. And I thought that was so smart. And then nobody else has done it since then. I don't remember who it was. If anybody remembers, if everybody looks back at the VOD, one player did that and it was the safest way to cross, and I was like, oh, so that's how you do that. And then everybody else just runs through and gets shot, and I need some more people to figure out if that's like an actual good strategy or not, but we'll see that later for sure, as Flak Fort has already been finished. And yeah, one more picks and ban set, and now we're probably going to see a map we haven't seen today, I think, since we've seen 2 maps banned out that we have seen today. And then, I mean, we've already seen a new map in this set, so I don't know what we could see for a third. We might see a domination. We might see a one of every type. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So the same maps that are like the maps that have already been played and banned, those of course are done and dusted with. We only have 3 remaining here. Both teams are going to get a ban, and the remaining last map is the last map of the day that we actually play. I can't quite remember what is there remaining for us. So Mountain R&D, Ministry both banned, Quarry and Flak Fort played. So we could see a Harbor City. And We started off the day with Harbor City. It'd be actually quite poetic if we actually ended the day on Harbor City.
Yeah, so we could see that. We could see Thermal Plant, or we could see, what map am I forgetting? It's well, Ministry. No, Ministry of Defense was banned, right? So what map? Oh wait, no, not Quarry. What's the, oh my god, why am I blanking on it? It's the one that has the really long outside point A that is a point capture. Oh no, sorry, it's the bomb. It's the destruction that's oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name, y'all? Do I play this game
as well?
Do I know? I don't play this game. It's the one that has the really long outside first spot with the mountain. I don't know why I'm blanking out on the name of that map.
Underground Research,
yes.
Or Underground Command Center. There, yeah.
Underground Command Center. Thank you. Yeah, I don't play this game, y'all. You've figured out my secret. No, I just honestly, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the maps in Gundam Evolution have really similar names, like Underground Command Center. You know, Mountain R&D facility, like research. There's just like a whole bunch of like similar sounding names. But yeah, I think that's the other one that we haven't seen picked or banned yet, right, for this set. So I think that's the last opportunity.
It's so surprising because, you know, there are a lot of like landmarks, right?
Yeah.
In the Gundam universe. Like, I mean, I don't know, you can have like the Gibraltar map or something, but I guess can't really do Gibraltar because there is an actual Gibraltar in a similar game.
That would be funny. That would actually be really funny.
Yeah. if Gundam Evolution had a Gibraltar of its own. But I remember from the original series that, like, you know, Gibraltar was talked about often enough, and I feel like that could have been a map pick or side 7. I don't know. Well, there are a lot of different ways that we didn't have to have kind of like almost generic names, right? Harbor City, Underground Command Center, Thermal Plant. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it would for sure be cool to see more stuff. That's why I'm really liking the new map. Like, at least you get the context of like where it is for sure in the Gundam universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really cool to have that kind of concept. But I'm sorry, we actually are going to go to Underground Command Center, so it's a good thing that you remembered that name for me. We are going to see the other ones banned, so we're going to see yet another new map that we have not seen throughout today, and we are going to go to our second destruction map of the set and of the day, actually.
Yeah, this is going to be strong for Jim Sniper if you want to open up, right? Most teams are going to play pretty offensively, even on the defensive side. Try to play for that waypoint fairly similarly to how Corey ends up playing. You don't want to just give up that waypoint for free. You want to at least put some kind of presence there, because in taking that point, in taking the time to regroup for that waypoint, that allows the defense to try and regroup themselves to go for that retake, or try to play for the choke essentially on the low ground plant. I forget which one's A and which one's B. But yeah, it allows you to play off that choke. So you can go for the double sniper. You can go for the Gym Sniper along with that turn A. And I imagine that turn A is going to be played here with how both these teams have been favoring it.
Yeah, I think this is a great map for it. Just you can, like you said, especially on the second point, well, actually on both, realistically, you can get such good spots for that G maneuver, and there's so many like long range shots on this map. This is, I would say, overall, if I had to guess, it's probably one of the maps that has the most overall long range sight lines. Like every single push to the first waypoint is a long range sight line. You got some decently long range sight lines on the very first point, going from like the like stairs down or the ramp down to like the kind of choke point doorway. You got some decently long sight lines going from that to the next waypoint, where there's like a really long sight line that's a chokehold that people hold, and then you have like longer sight lines on the final points potentially, depending on which one you put it on, or at the very minimum you can get some long sight lines on the people going to it. So I think turn A is a great option here. We are going to be moving now into this first round and seeing that turn A very clearly. You love to see it. And on the, actually we're gonna see the Gundam Unicorn. That's a little bit of a strange choice. It is gonna give a little bit more of a passive healing ability to this team. There are not a lot of really accessible health packs, so we do have to make sure that we stay alive, and I like that a lot. There's a lot of sustainability on this team in general as far as getting armor, getting regen, and we're seeing that pretty clearly. On the offensive side, though, I'm really curious as to what they're going to be using, as we're going to see, of course, their more unique style, and it looks like we're actually not going to see, no, I'm sorry, we are going to see the Barbados. I lied. So I actually would love to, if we can, get a listen in to IQ for this very first point of the map. I would love to listen to their comms, because again, they're another team that we haven't heard. So let's take a listen to IQ when we get a chance.
That's so many.
There's their entire team.
Unicorn low on top.
They all just jumped off. Yeah.
Nice, chaotic. Good deterrent.
One dude
Chase them.
scares the entire team. Yeah,
They're
they're
back
pushing
off.
back. They're backing up.
I think you need that with that.
Take far left angles.
I took waypoint.
I hear him hit. Two of them are
You
hit.
need to kill them far left here. Otherwise we cannot push.
I got one. I'm gonna die though. It's gonna take him much longer to get here.
I'm almost dead.
Thank you, Ceres.
You need to
Turn
push
one.
him. Hell.
One is solo here, no? Nah, fuck off.
Nice.
They're pushing back.
Yeah, they're falling back.
Don't die, Raptor. There's a mine there. Jesus.
Fuck it. They are chasing.
All right, that was a solid first push. Definitely taking advantage again of the range their team has. And it was nice to hear their comms, again, sounding pretty calm. I did mention before that this team said that some of them have played together in Battlefield, so you can, again, tell that they have a little bit of experience with that. Ooh, that is a tough spot. But the Exia is, of course, going to be a little bit afraid of getting overhead thrown.
Yeah, and kind of important that they weren't able to get the res on to that Pale Rider, and so that's going to kind of give them free reign. You can see now the defense kind of falling apart here, getting picked apart one by one. They're trying to play off this high ground, but that does leave A open, and I feel like it would be a much better spot to try and plant, especially with how strong your turn A has been, along with Chaotic coming back in to just one-shot Batty. They got the res onto Invictus. Now they're going to be able to get that Mega Charge down onto point A.
Yeah, just bringing out the Fly Swatter, and whoa, look at that, the 6-kill streak. That is so many players down on the side of Powerpuff Girls. This is looking really good, and you can get somewhat choke, like I guess like chokehold here. I don't know if that's a choke pointed here. I don't know exactly the term, but you can get trapped in these doorways for sure. Once a team has set up the bomb, yeah, exactly like this. You see how hard it is to get up this ramp, to get a good angle inside. A lot of times people will have to go that kind of like lower route, but again, you can just set people in basically two spots that prevent anybody from entering in their two choke points.
And they end up losing out on two. The Ashmar punch just to take out Ceres, and Chaotic going down as well. Fusion Blackie is still up. We'll see if he can try to deny this, but that's a great utilization of the stun basically coming out from that Gundam Unicorn. So the Mega Charge will get disarmed on point A, and now there's 2 minutes remaining. Luckily for the other side, for IQ, they still have the waypoint, so you can try and re-engage fairly shortly here.
Yeah, that was really close. That was a great, like, kind of coordinated push to disarm right there. There was a really good chance that that was not going to work. That is a very tough spot to capture back once the enemy team has a hold of it, like I was just saying. But here we go. We're going to see, again, we see one single, oh my gosh, we see the G maneuver. We see a bunch of G maneuvers all in a row. Here we're going to see the turn A. It doesn't get all that much mileage, really great mobility to kind of avoid it. You don't actually move that fast. So we see everybody just running around in a circle, and that is not going to get any mileage on top of. I believe we also saw the Ashmar and the Hades, both of them using that G maneuver, and it actually looks like the Exia also used Trans Am, and I didn't even get a chance to see that happen.
Oh boy, almost going down a little bit early there. They have to back off, and Ceres will fall. They are just staggering, and you cannot let this happen. The timers are just getting away from them. 1 minute remaining now, and they have to get the Mega Charge down first before they even want to move forward now. And at this point, they've basically left themselves with only one team fight remaining here. We've got the Unicorn G maneuver ready, pop, the push out, one shot left, basically remaining there as Fusion Blackie does find one with that overhead throw, but Ceres will fall once again. Batty coming up clutch, and he has been a one-man army. We got to see him hold it down on point A when we were over on Flag Fort, excuse me, and now he's doing it once more.
Oh my gosh, that was so many people that went down. That was like you know the term fish in a barrel? That's like the ultimate example of it. Batty just turned the corner and saw like 4 people just sitting in a line and was like, oh my gosh, this is my moment. I already have my G maneuver popped. This is exactly what I want. And that was like a full team wipe just from that one G maneuver, which can be a really tough one to effectively use, but only 8 seconds left on the clock. We need to see the replant. There's a chance here. It might get the plant off. I don't know if it's gonna be enough time for the full team to get back. All right, we're in overtime. There's a chance here for IQ.
Yeah, he does have his nano skin available. He got that first health pack. He was trying to delay for as long as possible, but the DPS is way too high. He cannot out-survive that. Mega Charge gets diffused. There's only what 89% that they got on that first plant. So now Powerpuff Girls, they've got the goalpost set in their sights. It's 84.3%. That's all they need to beat out to secure this final win and move on in the lower bracket.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier today something that I think is very true. Powerpuff Girls, the further they get in the tournament, they get stronger and stronger. It's just how they play. I don't know what it is, but it's a really important skill as a team of competitors. And you can tell, even from the first game of this set to now, they are just playing more and more solid. They're just adapting to the opponents, and you love to see it. But now they've got I don't want to say a pretty easy goal, but this is a very achievable goal to move into the top 3. They're just going to be sticking with what they've been using. I really like this this fact that they've been using the turn A a lot more. We talked about it a lot, obviously. This has been a very turn A based match, but the confidence to choose this and have Kaiser on there is, I don't know, it's working out really well. I love to see it.
Yeah, one thing they can definitely learn from what happened in that last push for IQ is just that IQ used a lot of their G maneuvers for entries, right? They try to get onto the point with it. And I think that's something you need to be able to get those points dry, not utilizing your G maneuvers for that. It's more about trying to save those for the delay on the mega charges on the defusal. And so we'll see if they can try and do that for now. That's going to be the high ground hold, of course. That's quite standard here in the underground command center. No Gym Sniper. I was really expecting maybe some Gym Sniper play here, but that is not going to be the case whatsoever. Not even to open up on the offense. That's what's throwing me off the most, I would say. But oh boy, the Ashmar taking a lot of damage. Does have that health pack, but he's still taking a lot of damage. He's got the Methus heal there to keep him topped off, but they will have to eventually give that one up as Zeros finds that first knock. Chaotic has gone down, and now they're on the retreat, but they're getting picked apart. Ceres will fall, and that's going to be the waypoint going on over to the Powerpuff Girls as they find more. Fusion Blackie has fallen, and this is going to be a huge opening. You can see them now pushing up as a full 6-man to go ahead and get that plant. Will they go for A or will they go for B? And it looks like they're going to choose more fastidious one. It's going to be point A, but oh boy, they're getting knocked off. Chaotic gets back just in time to try and delay that, but the mega charge will go down.
Yeah, and again, 2 people on the side of IQ going down. They're getting staggered. 3 people now as Ceres just goes down as well. And we've got almost an entire team basically here alive and healthy at pretty much full life, especially because of this Gundam Unicorn passive, which also has the armor for the next push. And they have to get in here quick to defend this. Omniject is going to get downed, and they are going to finish him off, but there's a big price to pay for that, and they do not have time at all.
Again, you just have to play the standard, right? You just have to wait. You just have to wait until you hear the diffuses going off. Zeros has gotten taken down, but they haven't gone onto the mega charge quite yet, and so they are fine. But get a little bit of the fight getting away from them, as now they've lost out on 3 as they charged in a little bit early on, and so the defuse will go through, it seems like, for the defense. And they'll have to try one more time, but they still have 3.5 minutes to work with. It was super close, 79%. They were only 5% off from being able to secure the win and moving on in the lower bracket.
Yeah, great clutch here, though, by IQ to not let that momentum just run them over, basically, because that was, like you said, literally like a few seconds away from that actually being just the game, the set, and their tournament life. But they've got a good spot now. They can hold. They've got some really chunky, multiple shots here with the turn A, and they just need to stay and play, play standard, like you said. Now it's their turn to play standard, as this is a pretty good spot to defend, as long as they don't get that first plant off.
Oh no, Fusion Blackie getting chased, or actually chasing down and getting punished for it now. And despite opening things up with a Hades, the fight is going the other way. The mega charge has gone down on point B, and they do have the Exia there, but he only picks up 1 before he falls. Now, Ashmar here to try and delay things himself. It doesn't look like that Molly gets much value. He's got to be careful getting peeked from multiple angles now. They're going to try and approach from that low ground, come up the ramps. There are 2 different approaches for this one, but time is slowly running away from them, and taking these challenges is not going to work out. Gundam Unicorn Ultimate being popped as well, but no one really going down throughout all of this. Zacius is able to take out Fusion Blackie, and they only trade for 1 throughout all of this. They've lost out on 2 more, and now things are looking dire for IQ on this defensive hold. They have no one remaining here on the point, and it's all coming down to PPG. They've got all of their team basically up here. They'll be able to secure the win with just a few seconds remaining. That's going to be PPG moving on to the lower finals.
Wow, really strong push as well. IQ was really starting to find their footing, but just a little bit too late, I think. I love the switch to push over towards B instead. That can be a much harder spot to push back as the offense, or I'm sorry, as the defense that needs to get the disarm. But PPG, like you said, they have just been playing so strong. And you know what? One other thing that I failed to mention in between is that I think actually they had to sub out a player because Casino, I think, wasn't in that last match as Casino had to go to work, I think, which is, I guess, the downside of being an adult, which is kind of part of his gimmick. But yeah, so that was actually, I think it was a sub. And I did notice that there was a different player, of course, playing on the side of on the suit of the Dom. So really impressive to be able to sub out mid essentially tournament match and still be able to pull off this win very convincingly. And I do love everything that I saw from IQ. I think they pulled some really unique plays and some really incredible like team comp that we don't expect to see, but it worked out in a really cool way. They just weren't quite able to pull this off. Of course, the closest game that we've had this entire broadcast so far going into game 3, but they are in the spot now that Powerpuff Girls was last tournament, where you're like, okay, this is an incredibly good team. They just didn't quite make it to day 2. And then now we go to the next month, and that team is making it to day 2, where we are going to see PPG as our top 3 team that's going to be playing in the broadcast tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really excited for them. Again, I'm super excited to see what IQ have in store for us later on. Hopefully they come back for our next tournament as well, because they definitely impressed us today. And we got to see some great things from different players throughout. Again, Black Fusion did an amazing job on that turn A, really had a massive effect on how this one matchup played out. And hopefully, like I said, we get to see more turn A, and hopefully we get to see more play out of him, because there were some great heroics. Despite not taking the win, you know, you can still count that as a W under my belt, because he definitely impressed us today.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of the players on IQ, I think, impressed us. So, you know, we saw the Barbados plays, also like like the multi-kills with the Barbados. That was super sick to see. And just honestly, everybody on that team played really well. That's why it was the closest of the day. But like I said, that does set us up for